What is up, brothers? The Berger Bros Podcast, episode 5.
What's
How
popping?
you guys? What's going on, boys?
Let's go.
Lovely Friday.
Just another day in the life.
I know. I'm jealous. I should have made myself a coffee. I'm freaking dragging ass right now. Shotgun coffee.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, well,
Time to kill it.
I definitely feel a bit recharged after getting out of town for a little bit. It was a good little trip, much needed.
Definitely.
Sabbatical from work. Jeremy and I popped down to special place in our hearts, deep into the jungle of Nicaragua for the last week.
Yeah, it was great.
Got a surf trip in, and that was really definitely beneficial for the mental health and stepping away from the computer and the phone
and the family and the crying baby and the whole friggin' everything. So needed.
Yeah.
Taking naps at 10:30 after surfing all morning, and I came home being like, one breakfast, please. My wife didn't like that very much, but I was like, sorry, I'm just used to, walking up to the restaurant being like, can I get a breakfast and a smoothie and a coffee and a ice cold water? But yeah, that was so necessary. I felt like I just felt cooked, we've been just going so hard for almost 2 years straight. And I mean, there's been, life has been intense these last 2 years. So I was just telling everybody, I was like, dude, we just got to go dip out and clear our heads, put our phones down, put our computers away. I mean, I don't even think I took my computer out for 5 days.
I didn't either.
And we did a couple calls, on our phone. Luckily, the Wi-Fi was, decent. But for the most part, it was just pure relaxation, pure resting, just surfing. And yeah, it was pretty epic.
How was your little trip too, Josh? You got to pop out of town for a minute.
Yeah, I went down to Medellin, Colombia. It was awesome. Yeah, the place is really cool. There's like so much cool stuff to do. It's very green and like you're in a city, but there's like so much nature there. And like I was actually impressed by how good the food was. I didn't expect just the food to be just so good. And you can like drink the water out of the sink there. It's a pretty modern, it's a pretty modern place. I was really impressed by it. So that was really nice to get down there and just to kind of get out of town. I hadn't gone on a trip since New Year's when I was in Thailand. And that was a trip that was like getting out of town for the first time in a while too. So I think it's just so necessary to just put your pencils down and stop working for a minute and just kind of recharge, and it also gives you a little perspective and separation from it, so you can come back into it and really get things to the next level.
You run into Pablo Escobar?
I did go to his a museum, and I got to see a car that he was driving when it got mowed down by some I don't know, somebody trying to assassinate him, and all the windows were just blasted out with just hundreds of bullets.
Wow.
And you could see like the bullets still in the side of the car and stuff. And
crazy.
Pretty nuts.
That's wild.
One place I didn't get to go, which I want to go back, is when he did turn himself in. It was under the stipulation that he could build his own prison. And so there's, if you saw Narcos, you could see that prison that he was in. And basically this prison like looks like a prison from the outside, but inside it has like a bowling alley and a movie theater, and like it's like a luxury hotel inside, and you can go tour it. So
That'd be cool if you could go stay there for a night, turn it into an Airbnb.
Yeah.
One of those like attraction Airbnbs.
Get a room at the prison. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Is it still a prison, or is it just like kind of like a museum now?
Yeah, it's like it's a tourist attraction now. You can go and like tour.
It's just crazy to think that guy had. I mean, do you remember what the number was like in today's value? It was like $100 billion worth of cash that guy had, or something
Back
crazy.
then, it was $22 billion in cash. That was
22
just
billion
cash.
in cash
Yeah.
back then.
Right. In the 80s.
Right. And so then today that value is like 500 billion or something crazy.
It's nuts. But
That's
it
wild.
was interesting to hear his like story, because he was also very much, even though he was like an absolute criminal, and it's people don't like you talking about Pablo Escobar down there, because it's kind of like a black eye for the country. But he also was like really a man of the people, and he built so much infrastructure and like neighborhoods, and he was like giving away homes to the poor, and so everyone like loved him until they realized that he was like murdering people, and they're like, eh.
Yeah, I just got to go watch Narcos. That's like, there's another, is it Narcos that's just like only about Pablo Escobar, or is there another show? I can't remember. I remember seeing a couple of them.
Yeah,
They're so good.
plenty of things about.
That's cool. That's really cool that you went down there, and obviously with one of our besties, got to show you. I talked to him last night, and he was telling me about your guys' trip, and sounded really, really cool.
The
Sounded
5 a.m. tequila bottles in the nightclub.
Yeah, they actually drink tequila there, which is nice, because in Brazil it's really hard to get. They're like, oh, you want tequila? They pull out like Jose Cuervo. You're like, that's not tequila, sir.
That's freaking fire for your throat.
Yeah, no, but
That'll make you throw up instantly. Taste that shit.
Well, where we went, it was the complete opposite. There was no nightclubs. We were in bed by
No
9.
museums.
Yeah, no museums, and just resort right on the beach, but not the kind of resort that you're thinking of. I mean, it's literally a home cooked meal, just very rootsy, and set up right in front of the wave in northern Nicaragua, just south. I mean, you can see the border for El Salvador from the beach, but it's incredible place, incredible wave. People are amazing, and just a great place to go and go off the grid for a few. I mean, obviously
no
they
doubt.
have good Wi-Fi, but you can really feel like you're disconnecting. And
well, there's only good Wi-Fi in the restaurant. We were lucky that our room was just kind of a straight shot from the restaurant, but usually all the rooms, they don't get Wi-Fi. So if you want to connect or do a phone call or whatever, you can you have to go into the restaurant. That's kind of how they have it set up. It's funny, when I reached out to him to tell him that we wanted to come, I was like, hey, how about we bring our Routie guest Wi-Fi down with some edge extenders and get your Wi-Fi to reach all your all the rooms within the space. And they were like, nah, we don't want people to be able to get internet access from their room, because we feel like people would stay in their room because they can watch Netflix, they could do the work that they need to do there. And I was like, look, I get that, you want to create this communal space, but also I was thinking, but then you have people on their computers in the restaurant, not being, not being, hanging out with the people there. They're just in their work, they're doing their things, and then they put their computer away, and then they go off and do their, then when they're ready to hang out.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, I was like, why not send the internet into their room so that they can do their work quickly, and then they can come down and hang out in the restaurant. Cause I'm like, that's what I would want. I don't want to hang out in a restaurant and put headphones on and do my, a couple things that I got to do. And like, we're there to not have to work. So if God forbid, I got to do some fucking work, I'd rather just do it in the comfort of my room. And then I can come out when I'm done, and get it, But
the one thing I've learned in starting this business with Routie is how fucking stupid businesses are about their internet. Like, I hear some like stories of why people don't want to use this, and you just want to slap your forehead. You're like, how are you a business owner? Like, you have no business sense whatsoever, and somehow, out of the grace of God, you have created a business that is still working. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think
it's a big problem that people are having with their understanding of marketing and what gets a customer to come into your establishment, whether it's a hotel, whether it's an Airbnb, whether it's a restaurant. In particular, restaurant owners are really struggling with understanding leads and marketing. And it's just bizarre, the mentality. It's that classic, like stepping over dollars to pick up dimes, because we understand business owners, especially restaurant owners, really do have very finite budgets and they're really struggling. And you also find that a lot of restaurant owners are actually working in their restaurant, like as unpaid work, workers. And
they're like managers, basically.
They're basically managers without a salary, and they make money off of the profit, if there is any. And they look at the fact that there isn't a lot of profit, and so they're penny pinching. But we also understand that it takes money to make money, and you got to be willing to invest into lead generation and building a customer database and building one-on-one relationships with your customers. And I think it's really difficult for business owners to accept that they need to spend even $50 a month on lead gen.
Even $20 a month. I mean, it's
even $20 a month. And then they'll go and spend $500 or $1,000 on Facebook ads that literally don't even work. Or they'll go put, $1,000 into a print ad in the back of a magazine to try and, or they'll sponsor like a local baseball team in Little League or something like that and spend $1,500 or $2,000 on that. And then they won't spend $20 to $50 on capturing email addresses for their actual customers coming into their business, So it's a frustrating effort.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, especially for like vacation rentals, I posted a video on TikTok, and people were like, if I stayed at an Airbnb and I had to give my email address to get on the internet, that would be an invasion of my privacy, and I'd never stay at that Airbnb again. I was like, okay. So you're telling me when you go out of the country and you're in the airport, or you go anywhere and you're in the airport, because your phone rarely works in the airport. So you're going to get on the internet so you can have some data. You can make a phone call, but if you're trying to get on Instagram, it's going to be real slow because there's a ton of people there. So you're telling me that when you go to the airport and you get on the internet and they ask for your email address, that's an invasion of your privacy? Because, and they're like, well, no, I just don't use the internet at the airport. Okay. Well, how often do you travel? If you travel a lot, you're going to use the fucking you're going to use the airport internet. And it just like boggles my mind. Like there's a coffee shop. What?
I was going to say, or even worse, when you booked your hotel, did they not ask you for an email address? Was that an invasion of your privacy when you actually booked the hotel itself? They already have.
When you booked your airplane ticket and you gave them your email address so they could send you a confirmation email.
Or when you signed up for Airbnb in the first place, you gave them your email address.
Yeah. So it's like the whole thing is ridiculous. People just they think of like your email address as this like secret code that like you can't give to somebody, because if you give it to them, then all of a sudden they're gonna send you, spyware, and they're gonna check in on your computer and steal your credit card. It's like, sure, there are nefarious people that do that. But you just look at those emails and they're friggin' like spaces, and they look like spam. Like, come on, we're 2024 now. Like, you should know what a spam email looks like. And if you don't, then you should go do some research on what a spam email looks like. And you just don't click links on emails that are that feel, that you're just like, they look weird. I just got an email today from Facebook saying that my Facebook page, I have a DJ page, is getting shut down because it violated, somebody put in a violation, and we're just going to shut your Facebook down. So click this link to deal with it, to resolve it. I'm like, okay, let me look at where this email came from. And it's like no reply at facebookmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I went and looked at what another Facebook thing was that I had gotten actually from like an ad that I run, and it's not the same email address.
Yeah.
But it looks so similar, but that's like not,
we're
talking about a place that you stayed at and you loved it. It was a great experience. I personally would want to hear from that place.
Yeah.
Like I stayed in Airbnb in Indiana, and dude, the guy emails me all the time and says, "Hey, would love to have you back at our spot. I'm willing to give you a 25% off." And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going out to Indiana anymore, but that's a great deal. If you are, you know,
Yeah, I'd love to get
you're,
that offer.
you're $900 off, $900 for a week. You're getting 25% off. Like, fuck, dude, you're going to book that because
Yeah.
that was you enjoyed the stay, and that person is personally reaching out to you and creating like a relationship. And that's the value of, offering guest Wi-Fi as a business, but business people don't understand the value because they're narrow-minded,
Also, what they're not understanding is that for someone to make a purchase, they have to see something anywhere between 7 and 10 times.
Right.
And so what's interesting is if you're getting emails from, let's say, a resort or Airbnb or even a restaurant cafe that you go to regularly, then you're seeing that name of that cafe in your email, consistently. And that's why you see commercials for Coca-Cola, not because you don't have ever heard of Coca-Cola, but because when you see that Coca-Cola commercial or a Burger King commercial, it makes you go, oh, I'm actually hungry. Oh, we should, let's go to Burger King. Like that's literally how the advertising works. And people pay millions of dollars to be able to put their brand in front of customers. Or and you have someone saying, I don't want to spend $25 to send messages out or for my customers to see my brand continuously through the month so that they can come back and spend money at my establishment. That's not worth $25 to them. It's just absolutely shocking. It's really actually, to your point, infuriating and frustrating to see these business owners missing the opportunity to enhance their business.
Yeah. I mean, and also you see these ads and then they leave an imprint in your brain so that when you go, like a Coca-Cola, perfect example, you go to the restaurant and you're going to order a drink and there's all the options and you literally just saw a Coca-Cola commercial, maybe within the last 5 days, your brain's just going to remember that and be like, oh, I want a Coke.
Yeah. It's weird.
And that's the same thing. Like if you're, you stay at an Airbnb or you stay at, or you got a coffee from a coffee shop and you get an ad from a coffee shop, you get you get an email from that coffee shop saying, hey, here's a 20% off on your next coffee. And then your chick says, hey, you want to go get a coffee? And be like, oh, I have that 25% off. I'm going to go to drink that coffee.
Go there. Yeah.
That's what, like, it's just like human nature. When you see shit, it like triggers in your brain so that you like remember it and then you go and do it, Yeah. And I don't know about you, if I'm like a perfect example, the best thing ever is CVS. I don't know if you guys sign up for CVS, but CVS has emails that go out to you multiple times a week, $10 off, 20% off, $5 off, $30 off when you spend $50. And then you get those emails and am I going to go to CVS or am I going to go to Rite Aid? You bet your sweet ass I'm going to CVS because I got that fucking coupon. It's like it's the same kind of marketing mentality for every business. If you're offering people discounts and offering people these ways for them to save, they're going to go back to your business.
Yeah.
And every business is struggling to get people to come in because people don't want to leave their house. They got DoorDash, they got Grubhub,
And it's this broke mentality too, because it's like, oh no, we don't really have the money for that, or hey, we're super busy, and so we're super busy, so we're gonna go and not spend this money now. We'll do it on our off season when there's nobody staying at our place. It's like, well, how are you gonna get emails? You're nobody's staying there, it's your off season. So it's just pretty ridiculous.
It's frustrating. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I'm not sure what the answer is because it's absolutely a product that people need. There's clearly a product market fit, and there's a lot of people pushing back on them needing it. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And in this case, it's like you're showing them the value and you're explaining it to them, and for them, there's a hurdle they're having trouble getting over. So I'm not sure exactly what the answer is there, but it's been an enlightening kind of path to bringing that to people's attention. One of the things that I've been super excited about, though, on the Routie front is some of the new stuff that I'm wanting to offer within the Packeteer OS. And I really want to see the Packeteer OS putting an emphasis on building out some of the packet network stuff. And that's really been getting me excited. And I was really thrilled to see, Demetrius win the network steward a couple of days ago. And what he's about to build with a VPN. And as soon as that VPN technology is built out, I really want to figure out how to get that VPN stuff into, more deeply into Packeteer OS. And a lot of it's still there right now where we're offering VPN services, but I'd love to see some incentives for people to set up VPN exits and CJDNS nodes and other things like this. Obviously, each Routie Mini and Cube is a CJDNS node, which is cool.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I don't think people that's the thing. Like, it was never like an emphasis. We never emphasized on like what all, because the thing is that we always struggle with, it's like, oh, it does this, it does that, it does this, it does that. It's like pick which one it does, and let's focus on marketing it to that demographic or that product market fit. And during a bear market, no one gave a shit about mining. No one gave a shit about building out a network because the economic incentive, it wasn't super, super high. So, what's a way that somebody could get a product and actually generate revenue at a level that would be worth the amount of money that they have to spend to get it? And so that's kind of the focus on guest Wi-Fi. But now there's this new revolution, the new bull market is intimate, and the crypto is becoming more, spoken about, and mining is becoming more, lucrative, and understanding that, owning a mini, it does guest Wi-Fi and it helps businesses grow their, database. And, but also if you're not a business, running a mini, you're actually running a CJDNS node, which is building out the decentralized web. And that's kind of like this, we have all the marketing materials, we have the websites, everything set up, and it's been kind of a thing that we've just been like, not really pushing as hard, just because that's hasn't been our focus, but like it's there, and we're now just getting, putting it into gear so that we can start pushing it out to people. And like, how cool is it to be, the first couple thousand people with a mini, and literally your mini plugged into your modem builds the decentralized web, which is, a sovereign infrastructure where people can come and build websites. And it's basically the internet on top of the internet that can't be shut down. It's its own thing.
The other thing that I love and I want to see us do is, and I was just talking about this with someone the other day, is like when you set up a website, you have to go get hosting from somewhere. That's just the way you do it every single time. This is like without fail, like whether you're doing it on Shopify or Squarespace, or even if you're just doing your own WordPress site, like that WordPress site needs to be on a server somewhere, and you have to go rent that server. And with the mini being a CJDNS node and being connected to your internet, it's possible for the mini to also have a website hosted on it, where that mini actually is serving up a website into the decentralized web. And it's a really cool concept, because it means that like if you had a blog, you could put that blog onto the mini, and then the mini will then host that blog in the decentralized web. And that's yours site that you don't have to pay anybody to run it. You don't have to pay a hosting provider. You don't have to worry about that site ever getting taken down. And the alternative to that is like what I was just dealing with actually the other day with Radical. We have our hosting on a hosting provider for that website, and that server that website's on costs about $300 a year. And so, $300 a year. So every year they start sending me messages like 2 months before the expiration saying, hey, renew, $329.99, whatever. And that's how much I spend per year to host that website. Now, of course, I could go find cheaper places to do it, but the reason that site is on that particular host is because of the way the server operates and making sure that that site's always up and can handle the load of people that navigate to that site. But the point is, it's also possible to host websites without having to pay a hosting provider every single month. And that's the power of the decentralized web, and in particular, what CJDNS is capable of doing, building a bridge between the network itself and people's ability to self-host a website without having to pay a third-party hosting provider, is a really powerful thing. And that's another cool opportunity that could be done with the Mini. So I'd love to see that come to fruition as well, and communicate with the people in the world that have this belief that we shouldn't have to pay all these centralized companies to utilize the internet, like utilize this free and open internet. It shouldn't be incumbent that you have to pay some centralized hosting provider or internet service provider or even DNS provider to actually have a website on the internet. So that's part of the revolution. It gets me really pumped up on what Routie and what Packet and CGDNS can bring to the table.
Yeah, and I think that also, with crypto, what it's kind of shifted this mentality about like owning your own stuff, and not being reliant on these centralized, institutions to give you the things that you need in your life, So people have been taking control of their own banking through crypto, through Bitcoin, store of value. You're watching, the dollar and currencies, fluctuating, and all the turmoil that's happening in those things. And people are really looking at Bitcoin as a hedge. And I think the next kind of piece of that is seeing all the stuff happening with the internet, and having the regulation and people being silenced, and, your echo chamber and algorithms and all this stuff. And people really want to take ownership of their internet. And I think that that's just the beginning of it. It's still so early where people are still trying to like click in their brains. But once the problems of the internet just become more apparent, and more visible, people are gonna be like, oh shit, like this is a house of cards, and all my things and all of my voice and my platform and my business that I'm building on this are all built on, somebody else's platform, and I don't have any control over that.
That's such a good point. Yeah. I mean, it's scary. I think, people say, well, I'm not doing anything illegal, so it shouldn't matter, but it's not about that. It's just like, do you want to pay $400 a year just to have a website,
for the rest of your life?
For the rest of your life. Like, it's just something as simple as that. And some people just go, yeah, whatever, I'm going to do that. But if the alternative is you're saying I can do this for next to free, like that saves
there's a lot you could do with $4,800 a year, go on and take your family on a vacation, save, invest it back into crypto.
Yeah.
And what if you could earn money by doing it? That's the other thing.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's the next phase of this. I think people are, you're right, just very ingrained in the way things are. Look, I think in general, humans are resistant to change. Like that's just a human nature. And we see it a lot, and I always love going back to those videos on YouTube before the internet was like what it is today, where people are like, what's email, and that video that you just posted on your social where someone was saying that at one point in the future, there's going to be a personal computer, and every home's going to have a personal computer where you can do work from, anywhere in the world and be present, in terms of your job. And that reality is now here, and so I think this next phase, right, where it's still,
well, now you have a personal computer on your phone.
Yeah, exactly. In your pocket.
Yeah, it went from having a computer in your home to not having a computer in your pocket. And and I think that evolution is before us. I think that's part of what crypto represents, is really pushing the boundaries of the imagination and what technology is capable of, and bringing, real world benefits to people. Of course, there's also people, rug pulling everyone on meme coins. So that's the other side, the dark side of crypto. But, the technology side of crypto is really exciting, and it gets me fired up every day.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, we're gonna keep this one short for today.
Yeah.
Had a short little window. Figured we'd all jump on, stay consistent with our podcast.
Give the people what they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys can listen to this on all the platforms, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Appreciate you guys for taking the time today, and we'll circle back next week for another episode.
Indeed. Yeah. See you.
Have a good weekend. Later.
Bye.